You're watching The Rundown. I'm Hari Srinivasan. We are joined by our friends at Politico, Josh Gerstein, a reporter from the White House beat. Thanks for joining us.
Sure.
All right, looks like President Obama has a tremendous amount on his plate domestically and internationally just in the past couple of days. I mean, we've got, on the international front, we've got North Korea, Afghanistan, and of course now the Middle East issue rising up again. How does the White House spread their resources?
Well, it's tough for them. You know, this is a great example of how the best laid plans of presidents can be driven off in other directions. I think some folks might have thought at this point we'd be talking about the Supreme Court nomination battle or something along those lines, and now you have the White House spread in a bunch of different directions, particularly by these crises. I mean, the biggest one they're really tackling right now is obviously this oil spill in the Gulf, which is a domestic problem and something that threatens to be a real political nightmare for the president if it's not handled correctly. And then you're right, you have this series of foreign policy problems, especially this Israel crisis over the weekend that really upended the president's schedule. He was supposed to see Prime Minister Netanyahu today, and that's canceled, and now the administration in a bit of a pickle on its whole Middle Eastern policy as well.
Okay, biggest issue, the one that you just mentioned, was the oil spill. He's out now far more frequently making comments about this. Does the White House kind of feel like they have been behind the ball?
They won't concede that they were behind the ball whatsoever in terms of the substantive response, in terms of getting people down there, of being on top of the situation, of getting the resources where they need to go. They're not saying they did that perfectly, but they claim they've taken this very, very seriously from the outset. They are sort of acknowledging that perhaps the communications side of this, in terms of signaling publicly how invested the White House was and how involved the president was in this issue, maybe wasn't all that it could have been. And we're seeing that in a few different ways now. All of a sudden, today, we're now about 5 to 6 weeks into this incident. They've decided they're going to do one single daily briefing with the incident commander, Admiral Tad Allen of the Coast Guard, to oversee this and basically become the single voice of the federal government on this issue. It doesn't mean you won't hear from anyone else, but he will be sort of the lead point person on this. I think the concern that their message on this was getting a little bit muddled with a bunch of different officials trying to tackle the issue.
You're watching The Rundown. I'm Hari Srinivasan. Stay with us.